Hello everyone, we're
MossCharmly,
MossCharmly. Today we're going to talk about making smudge brushes.
which are very different than blending brushes, right?
Yeah,
Blending brushes sort of mix colors together while you're moving it around, and smudging brushes will push the pigments or the paint around in a different way while slightly blending,
yeah.
if you wish. But it's more a different way of actually, manipulating your pigments around on your canvas. So, right?
Yes,
We're gonna make that smudge brush.
let's make a smudge brush. So we're going to do that by going up to that top part here and clicking the brush editor in Krita, and it'll give you a menu.
Exactly. It's got a lot of confusing stuff in here, but don't worry. If you follow along, it'll make more sense than not.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So it might look like this. Just press this little arrow right here, right here, and it will open this menu here, which is the brush engine menu.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. It's where all the brush engines live.
Krita creates a lot of brushes, and they all use specific engines. We are going to use the color smudge engine, right? So if you click that, it'll show the smudge brushes that are in our system.
Yeah.
Some of them will come standard with Krita. Some of them we've actually got because of bundles that we downloaded.
Yeah.
There we go. So we're going to make a smudge brush.
Yeah.
So you want to go down to the bottom left of this window and press that little plus, right?
Right. And this will get to what engine you can choose that you want to make your brush. And we're going to choose the color smudge engine.
Awesome. And we're making one from scratch.
Yeah.
This is great.
And then it pops up here. It says default smudge. So that's how you can tell.
It's telling.
It's telling. So that's how you can tell. So one of the first things too we're going to do is we're going to unclick the color rate, and that takes off the color because it produced color. Now it doesn't. And now, yeah. So
it's a pigment-free brush.
It's a pigment-free brush.
Use anything from your screen or anything from your layer or anything from your palette.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. So moving this so we can then show an example. The brush is really tiny. So right here, if you can see, it's really little. So we're going to go up to brush tip here, and we're going to go to predefined tab here.
And this is if you want to change the tip of the brush itself with maybe a pattern or an angle, little triangle, and it automatically creates a little triangle. There you go.
So we're going to change that brush tip size. So here it's really tiny, and now we're going to make it bigger.
That is bigger.
That's much bigger.
There we go. We can see it now.
So now you can see it's that triangle, but you can go to auto, and it will be that circle.
That's what you prefer.
That's something you like.
And see how it's actually just pushing the paint, right?
Yeah. So now it's pushing the paint around. But also, if you look real close up at it, you can see that it has these sort of the spacing is off.
Yeah, it is spacing. It's got those weird steps, like it's like kind of a thing.
Well, jitter.
So that's there you go.
So we'll go into to change that. Going into brush tip predefined, and then there you'll see spacing. So right here, and then you can just to show as an example, the higher you do it, the bigger the space is.
Yeah,
so that's kind of neat to see.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because that's just kind of cool in general too.
Yeah.
And then if that's something you might want, and then the lower you put it up, it's going to be smoother.
There you go.
And you'll have a smoother.
Yeah, smoother transition while you're using it.
Transition.
There we go. Cool.
So yeah, that's
and
cool.
that's smudging.
Yeah.
There it is. Cool.
And you can also go back to auto. You could change it to the circle if that's something you might want.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. What if we want to actually extend the length of the actual smudge? Like maybe because sometimes when you're using a smudge brush, it actually just almost feels like it's too short.
Yes.
Like you'd like it to be a little bit longer for your full stroke.
I'd go into smudge length.
There we go.
And you can change it here.
Exactly. Oh, we also need to change, just to let you know, right here up at the top where it says smudge mode, this is the setting you want it at. So you do want it on smearing. Do not put it on dulling. smearing is the correct setting, right?
Yeah, for this tutorial, that's what we mean by like smearing pushes the paint. And just to show you an example, dulling kind of just like that has a very different effect.
Yeah, very different.
So we're going with smearing to make a smear brush, smudge brush.
Yeah.
So this is the effect we're going for.
So we do want to make that a little bit longer though, because it seemed a little bit short.
So to change that, to show an example, if it's really low, you're gonna get a much smaller one. If you want it really high,
it'll keep going.
It'll keep going.
There you go. There we go.
Yeah. So that's really
super nice.
Really kind of cool. So we'll probably put that to
75?
Yeah.
That's a nice one. Also.
Yeah, so we'll put that to 75. And here we go. And then we'll have a really long tail for it. So that's kind of neat.
It's nice. I like that. So now you got a basic smudge brush, right?
Yeah.
What if we enable the pen settings so the pressure sensitivity is activated in the sensors?
Oh, that's true. You could do that by click enable pen settings. You could even...
Because for me, my reason for saying that is because in pressure, I feel like I'm pressing too hard to get its full capability. It's almost like for me to really press hard, it's kind of like a little bit more effort than I really want to do. So what I do is I'll actually go into this graph and I'll bring it all the way to bring it this, instead of at 100 at the top, I'll bring it to like 75. It should be pressure sensitivity. I'm sorry. It'll be like 75 to like right there to 100, like that. And it actually, if you don't mind showing what it would look like, that'd be awesome. It actually like allows you to have a little bit more control. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the lighter you press, the lighter the stroke. It's much more pressure sensitive.
Yeah.
And then the harder you press, the longer and the
I prefer that myself when I'm using it. So
that's
I don't have to work as hard, and the brush will work for me in a way.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
I agree with that.
It's really cool.
It's a cool one. I like that.
I like that.
That's actually a great idea.
Yeah. So now what do you think? You think that's a good beginner smudge brush?
I think that's a perfect beginner smudge brush.
There we go. So we got to save this, right?
Yeah. So to save your awesome new brush, you go to Save New Brush Preset. Click that and then rename it. So you could call it default smudge. You
can leave it default smudge if you like, but if you don't want it, you can call it just, basic smudge or beginner smudge, or I don't know. What do you think?
Smudgerific.
I like smudgerific.
Smudgerific.
How do you spell it?
I don't know. That's
how you spell it.
Smudgerific.
There you go. Exactly.
So then you could load from icon library, and you can pick any kind of brush you might like. Since it's kind of, let's see, it's kind of blendery.
But a smudger would be like more of like a smudger type of a thing.
Smudge.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, what do you think?
Or something like that. I don't know. Maybe pick one of these dark ones so it kind of looks like more of a
pen.
Like a digital, like a stylus.
Yeah, it kind of has that digital vibe to it.
Exactly. And we can change the hue and saturation.
Yes.
Yeah, I would definitely put that little
So we put this here to show it has that effect. Change
Make it more purple. We can change the hue of things just so that you kind of know what it is.
Yeah.
Just
to make it really obvious. It's a very different brush.
Yeah.
So you could change up
anything that's more visibly recognizable, right?
How's that? Smudgerific?
I like that.
Okay.
Pressing OK.
And
there it is, right?
There it is.
Smudgerific. And we're saving.
And we're saving.
Nice. Okay. We also recommend creating a tag for your smudge brushes, right?
Yes.
So if we can go to the brush preset Docker, right?
Yeah.
Let's find it first. We got to find it.
You could do it two ways. You could type in the tag here in this area.
If you want to make a tag,
If you want to make it, we're going to look in the bottom of the Docker. We're going to go to the search and search in Smudgerific. Oh, and we have to make sure it's in all. Because you'll just be looking within
that one Docker preset tag, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smudgerific.
There you go.
So once you find it, you can right-click it, and assign it to tag.
There we go.
Now, if you don't have a tag, which we want to make a new one, we'll click here and we'll write smudge brushes.
There we go.
Smudgers.
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 There we go.
There we go.
Press plus.
Press plus.
And you're good to go. And then now you have a whole thing. If you go in there, you actually have, it's all alphabetical, so you can go down to smudgers. And there's your smudgerific, right?
Yes.
And you know, you can fool around with this brush that you've made and change the tips if you want different, you know, types of, you know, looks or textures.
Yeah,
right?
you can still edit off of what you already made.
It's kind of like a good basic foundation smudge brush.
Yeah.
There you go. Cool.
So we could edit from this. You could edit from a brush already pre-made in the color smudge engine.
There we go. Let's make one from a pre-made brush.
Let's do this one, wet circle. We're gonna now we're going to make a totally brand new brush again, another smudge brush, and we're gonna make it from wet circle, this brush here, and
inside the brush engine. That's all you gotta do. Find it and go for it, right?
Yeah. So now see, it still has color.
Yeah.
So we're going to take the color rate off so it doesn't do that.
There you go. Cool.
Okay. So that's the first step.
Yep. And brush tip.
Brush tip.
There we go.
You could change that up. You can go to predefine.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And see how it automatically turns into a triangle. You could give it a texture, or I mean, a different tip. That one's cool.
That one's cool.
I like that one. That's cool. Like looks like branches and stuff. And you do want to press smudge length, and then at the top, the smudge mode, you want to change it from dulling to smearing.
Yeah.
And this is going to have a huge effect.
This is where you change that mode to a smearing brush.
Exactly. And then you also want to come down here, just because personal preference, I think it helps out if you actually bring the pressure sensitivity up from 75 by 100, so it, you know, you don't have to press as hard. You know, you're going to have a good brush. So yeah, let's give it a look. See.
Let's try. Yeah. Let's try another part of the canvas.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. Around, nice area. Oh, there we go.
Okay,
nice.
Let's test it out.
Back to brush. You're good set.
Here we go. Okay, make it bigger.
Nice.
Okay. So that's odd. Let's see.
See now you got the chung 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 chung. So we have to go back to brush tip, right? And then we have to change the spacing.
Spacing. So we'll take out spacing.
Yeah, bring it all the way to down.
Also, to change this up too, we'll show how it looks after that. So after that, it still kind of does, spacing is much softer.
Yeah.
So now let's do for fun. I like this rotation and scatter. So let's see what that does.
There you go.
There we go. I like that.
That's a unique technique. That can be done.
Yeah, and it'll take
really cool
from the different parts. I think that's really pretty.
That is neat. That's a cool effect. You know, it's another one. I think you can actually do that inside of the smudge length as well. Like if you add that to it, if you turn off the rotation and the scale in there, you can turn it on in the smudge length in here. So if you actually go down to rotation and fuzzy dab, it'll have a different effect, right?
Yeah.
So this will actually be more almost like, so it's different.
It's soft.
You know, it's a little bit softer, has a different effect. So like sometimes these the same selection has a different effect.
Yeah,
you know,
like
it has a different way of creating the smudge or the brush.
And you can change the brush tip too, if you want, with that kind of that softer effect.
Yeah, I always found that in the if you go back to smudge length, if you turn fuzzy dab off, because I always felt that fuzzy dab kind of softens the edges.
Yeah.
And it almost blends it a bit too much for me to have that smudge effect personally.
I like that soft kind of look.
That?
Yeah. So it's on and off. So what do you think?
That's totally about, you know, personal taste and how you want to use the brush.
Yeah, that's why this is what's so cool about it, because it's just very much experimental, and this is where you could just really have fun. So there really isn't no wrong or right
way to create it.
Way to make it. There's nothing really incorrect. It's just you're making something fun, and you're having a good time, and you're seeing what works right for you.
Exactly.
So let's see. Let's try some other. What were we?
Oh no, I was just going to say even patterns, right?
Oh,
Didn't
yes.
we want to hit some patterns and talk about that?
Yes, I would say if you start doing patterns and brush tip, maybe I'll change brush tip too.
There you go.
I'll keep it at that circle probably. Okay, let's try it.
Because the more opaque your brush tip is, or the darker your brush tip is, you're going to see more effect happening.
Yes.
So it's almost like sometimes there's ones that have a lot less value, or it's grayer, you'll see less. So
if you click pattern on, you can start using any of the patterns
this
here.
This one is awesome.
This one's super cool. I'm hoping I'm on a good brush tip for this. I'm going to show another piece.
There we go. Oh, yes.
That's cool.
Isn't that neat?
That's really cool.
So you're smudging with that. That is so cool.
So that's a really cool effect. So even like circle,
Even at this, if you see, there's still that stepping. So spacing still needs to be altered, I think. If you go back to tip.
Brush tip.
Does it? Oh, no, it isn't.
Spacing's off. It's kind of because it already it's a circle pattern.
Ah, okay.
So it's kind of just...
So it's just part of the tip.
It's part of the tip. It's part of the pattern.
Oh, it's part of the pattern. I'm sorry.
Oh, it could be part of the tip too, but it's definitely the pattern. Wow. And if you go down and we'll do, or auto. Let's go auto.
There we go.
Yeah. And then it's very much
part of the pattern.
It's the pattern because it has those cool circles.
Oh yeah.
So and
they're different sizes too.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like you're using the screen tone.
Yeah, and so you could change the pattern again to maybe the one next to it with it, and it would give it a different one.
Wow, so that is so crazy. Look at that.
That's kind of wild to look at that.
That's a neat look, though.
Isn't that neat?
You can have a really unique look.
Yeah, so you could really play around with that, and it really has really cool, fun stuff. So, experiment with patterns. So here we're using this canvas pattern. Yeah. We'll move the window down, and it just makes very different effects. Oh, we're out of room here. No. So yeah, you just play around with it, and you can make some really unique stuff. So here we're trying this one. That kind of has a cool effect.
Yeah.
I kind of like this one.
It's just about experimenting and finding, the smudge brush you want to make. Because it really is almost like, use case specific in some cases. Like if you have a specific texture you're looking for, or a specific, canvas you want to sort of match. If you have like a paper texture going on, as part of, the aesthetic, you might want to use a similar paper texture in your smudger, so it keeps that cohesion.
Yeah, and I think smudger brushes are great for like hair. It's a great way to use it too. See, I'm just playing with more patterns.
Fooling around.
So awesome. Yeah, you could.
Some of those are interesting.
Some of them do different things.
Yeah.
And when you use it, it kind of like
cancels itself out.
So yeah. So that's kind of neat. Also, let's see. I'll turn off pattern. Go to brush tip. Let's see. I have some really fun ones I wanted to show.
Do the paint splatter ones.
Yeah, so
those are cool.
If you go to that one, you can try this one here, I think.
Yeah.
And you can
look at that.
Do that.
See, that's a different.
So that's different. Splat dots. What else? There were so many other things that I get nervous. Here, this one, freckles. We do freckles.
I know what you wanted to show. Go into smudge.
Rotation and scatter.
Yeah, if you do that, exactly.
And if you go into rotation and scatter, this is why I like rotation and scatter on different brush tips. This is the kind of cool effects you'll get.
That's cool.
So this is something I like, that you can blend in a way with that, like, and make these.
Smudges it all around. It's still using the smudge engine, so
yeah,
that's really cool.
And you can do that with other brush tips too.
There you go.
So I wanted to really show more with that.
One that you liked the most, I think, was this one, chalk round. No,
I didn't.
It was this one, chalk sparse. Was it?
Yes, chalk sparse was really nice. I liked how that looked.
There we go.
So this kind of has this nice, soft look.
And you're still pushing the paint around.
And you're still pushing paint.
Yeah, see that?
But I just thought that was nice. Like, ooh,
it has a large sample area.
If you're doing painting, that's really like kind of looks classical.
It does actually. You can definitely use that.
And also, this is kind of neat one. The A crackles. This one. Let's see. I'm gonna move it down. Maybe I'll start erasing stuff. So I'm gonna undo and then show. There we go.
There you go. Wow.
So this kind of has that neat effect here, which I think that's kind of pretty.
Yeah.
I like
Very
that.
Cool. Very cool.
So yeah, that's pretty much
kind of an overview.
Yeah, that's kind of the overview.
And
yeah.
Just have fun.
And then you can save those as brushes.
It's very important, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to save this one that you like, same process, right?
Yeah,
save
let's
new
do
preset.
that. We'll go save new preset, brush preset. You will call it Crackle Smudge.
There we go. Crackle Smudge.
Crackle Smudge. Crackle Smudge.
Crackle Smudge. There it is.
Okay.
Then we're gonna load from an icon library because you want to change that thumbnail, right?
Yeah.
We should use a similar digital pen, right?
Yeah.
There we go. Very cool.
One
of those. It was that one. Okay. But I think we like changed the colors and made it all funky. So you can change the hue, change it or whatever. Yeah. Change it real bright, made it real bright, and then change it.
Oh,
there you go. See? So it's a green one. And you put that little watery mark so we know what it is, right?
Yeah. No
there
press.
We go.
Okay.
Okay.
Crackle Smudge. And save it.
There we go.
So now we made another one. You've made this if you followed along, and we're just kind of having fun experimenting with us.
Yeah.
Also,
we want to save that in the smudge preset, right?
Yeah. So we're going to go into the Docker. We're going to go into all, and here it's right here.
Automatically set for you. That's nice.
Yeah. Then we'll right click. We'll assign it to tag. Go to Smudgers.
Boom. And now we can call up all the smudgers that we've made.
Yeah.
See, there you go. That's so neat.
Really cool.
That is cool.
So now you have an option to make
infinite amount of smudgers if you like, right?
Yeah.
Just don't be, worried or scared you're going to screw anything up, because you can always just undo things and bring all your brushes back to their original state. But
yes,
it's really a good idea to make one from scratch, like we did in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because it sort of really sets the tone for modifying and creating a brush just to begin with,
Yeah.
For you're like creating brushes kind of.
It's cool to use from another one from the default.
Very true. That is easier.
Yeah.
That is much easier.
But we're going back to this to show that like if you used it from another brush and you altered it, you can click on the brush you were using and you can click that area and it will bring it back to what it was. So if you had a brush you were editing and you want to fix it, you could just do that. So just real quick.
To let you know, right?
Yeah.
Well,
so
cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hope you have fun experimenting with smudgers.
Exactly.
Smudgerific and crackle smudge.
You can do so many different things.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yes.
How's that?
Yeah.
Okay. We hope everybody enjoyed, and we really do hope you just take the time to experiment and just sort of make something of your own, in the way that suits you and your style.
Yeah.
Because that's important. That's important to us. Got to do your own thing, right?
Yeah.
Do it your way. It's wonderful. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. MossCharmly out.
Have a great day, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Keep arting. Right?
Yes, keep arting always.
Always arting.